still scared. I'm scared every day. But I think if I wasn't scared, it wouldn't drive me on. The day that I'm not scared is probably the day that I'll quit.
Like of fashion, e-commerce, marketing and hard flipping graft, I think of Laura. Laura employs 24 people and is the leading female fashion retailer in Ireland and the UK. And we want to find out how that happens.
I didn't have this master plan to be where I am in 5 years or be where I am in 10 years. It happened gradually, and then understand where your shields are coming from, but also where your costs lie. State your wee goals, as small as they might be or as big as they might be. Set them and then quietly, slowly achieve them as you go.
So Laura, welcome to the Big Podcast.
Thank you, Kearney. Do you know what? I'm just honoured to be here. I've never done anything like this, so thank you for inviting me, and I hope that I have something good to say for all you guys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, so she absolutely does, because I went down to meet her and we went through everything, and I was there for a couple of hours, but we've only got like half an hour or 35 minutes here, so I'm going to get all the best questions. Sorry, I feel like I've got my back to you guys now. I'm going to ask her all the best questions for you, and you've been sending in your questions as well, and there'll be a Q&A afterwards where you get a chance to, if we didn't cover it, you're going to get a chance to ask. So I told my mum that, Laura from the Walk-In Wardrobe was going to be on the Dick Podcast. And she was like, well, that Kieran deserves to do well, because she never stops. And I was like,
I was chatting to your mum. Your mum and Margaret are going to come out of retirement and do a bit of modelling for me.
Yeah, they're like, So yeah, like everyone notices your presence, Laura, on social, and it doesn't come easy, I know, but can you tell us a wee bit? I suppose people don't really know how you got into retail, so tell us a wee bit about that.
Well, my background certainly wasn't retail. My master's was in urban planning and property development, and then I went to work for, it was retail. It was a guy that owned Parker Green at the time. Jared O'Hara was a local guy who had kind of made it in fact excellent in business. And I was working in his kind of property management team back then, based in the Keys in Newry, and he had shopping centres in Ireland, in the UK, and then in Europe as well. So while it wasn't directly retail, I was always retail based. I was always based around retail and the property side of it. I then moved on to Victoria Square, where I was operations manager for a few years there. So lots of lessons definitely learned there. Hadn't managed a team before. Blagged my way into it, don't know how, and went straight into managing 60 staff at Victoria Square, which was the biggest learning curve I probably think I've ever had. So yeah, from there then.
So you did say whenever we were talking that in order to learn how to manage the team, and I thought that was really, really interesting, you did night shifts with the security staff, you worked with the cleaners to understand how that all works. I thought that was really interesting, to do that.
Yeah, I'd always been part of a team, but I'd never actually managed staff. So I went from 0 to 60 overnight. So I was thinking, I honestly don't know how I got the job to this day. But first I was like, oh, I don't even know what you guys do. So the quickest way for me to learn was to work with them, work alongside them, be there all the time. So we did the night shift, been in for the 5:30 clean in the mornings, and just kind of from the ground up, took it from the ground up and worked with them. And yeah.
So then how did it come where you opened up your own shop then? What happened?
So pretty much then I worked for an external company that were contracted into Victoria Square called Noonan. So they were like a facilities management company then. And I went on to kind of work in their sales side of things. So to go into other shopping centres and kind of recreate what we had done in Victoria Square and how we'd managed it and how we managed the staff. And it was more of a really sales focused role. It was behind a computer. It was tendering for other shopping centres, for other huge big buildings, things like that, hospitals, things like that. So I absolutely detested it. I hated it. It wasn't me. I just love people. I love being with people. I love being part of a team. I love being out and about. So it was pretty much desk bound. So it wasn't for me. And always at Victoria Square and just in life in general, I love shopping abroad. I always thought, you know what, there's such opportunity here to bring brands that, when you're on holidays, you pick up beautiful wee pieces, you're always in wee smaller. Even if it's Zara, you're always like, there's nothing like this here. There definitely was a market. And also in Victoria Square, we did a race day. They sponsored the Down Royal race day every year. So nobody in Belfast kind of wore hats. I was like, what? It's a race day. Get dressed up. There's a hat shop in Banbridge. I go to it all the time. Weddings, love a bit of style, love hats. And I was like, bringing all this business to Banbridge. I was like, you don't know about this place. So it was a wee small shop in Banbridge. They had hats and they did a bit of Mother of the Bride. And Mum and I were in one day and I was like, you know what? I would love to run something like that. I definitely think I could do something like that. So honestly, hated the job. So Mum's like, why don't you ask her if she'd be interested in selling? She's like, she was a lady in her, I think, late 50s at that point. And I was like, go in and just ask. She was like, yeah, what do you got to lose? Go in and ask. Are you interested in selling? So I remember she going in one day and saying to Leontia, would you ever think of selling? And she was like, what? I was like, would you ever just think of selling the business? And she's like, you know what, Laura? Yes, I would. She had taken over from her daughter who did a bit of bridal, and she was like, you know what, I'm getting to an age now where I can't be bothered with this and it's a lot of work. And yeah, it went from there. So yeah, that's how I ended up having a hat shop and clothes shop. But it was very little clothes at that time. It was really only hat hair was the main driver.
And if anybody remembers Laura's shop at the very start, Laura, like, I know you won't mind me saying this, but it was tiny.
Oh, you literally walked in and reversed out. It was like,
But
we were in for nothing.
I was in Dungannon and I knew about you, so it reinforces the fact that sometimes it doesn't matter about the bricks and mortar. It's how you portray yourself online. Like, you were doing that when no one was doing that, like putting videos up and photos up of yourself. What's
and that definitely like wasn't part of a bigger plan. Like you said to me when we met, like, you didn't show your face. Like, I always wondered what you looked like. And I was like, that definitely wasn't part of a grand plan to be like mysterious in any way. Nothing like that. It was like, I got to sell this. I got to get this story out there. I have to put myself out there. It's only me. I had one other girl, Jordana, at the time that worked with me. And she probably thought I was mad. I turned this small bit at the back of the shop. I remember going to a guy that made steel in, like, locally in Rathfrelin and trying to explain to him what I wanted. And he was like, are you mad? I wanted like a changing room that turned into like this tiny, this sounds grand, but it was a tiny space. And I was like, I want to be able to take photos, but when somebody comes in, I want to be able to make it a changing room overnight, like in seconds. And he was like, you mad thing. But I had it to do. Like, it was only me and I was trying to get the name out there and trying to push it. I knew that if I relied on a Banbridge customer, you know, like, I would have been there a long time before I started to make a success of it. So it was like, okay, and I had saw what Facebook could do for Victoria Square, what it could do for brands. I was an online shopper myself. So I was like, you know what? Start somewhere, put your face out there, get it out there, get the brand out there, show the clothes. You know?
And like, there's a lot of businesses in bricks and mortar and they don't have a lot of space. And I would hear that a lot as a reason why they can't be all things on social. But it's no excuse. You go meet a man that makes a bit of style and you turn your changing room into a photo area, right?
Maybe not quite like that, but yes, find a space that works. And just, I think, like, if you're a small business, just tell your story, get in front of your customers, get in front of your audience. You know, a lot of businesses is as much about selling a personal touch as it is selling the product a lot of the time. So, you know, you have to believe in your product. And how do your customers know you believe in your product? Tell them why you believe in it. So for me, it was telling them why I love this dress, why I love this jacket.
And I know we talked about this when we met. There is the fear, and I talk about it in all the podcasts and I talk about it at all my events, of what people are going to say when you're on flat to the mat every day. What do you say to that when I say that to you?
Oh, I genuinely, and take this how you like, but I really don't care what you think. If you like the brand, follow me, get involved, comment. If you don't like it, switch off. Genuinely switch off, unfollow. That's fine. I get it. And there's brands I follow it sometimes. It's just not doing it for me. I maybe meet them. I totally get that, but I definitely have no tolerance for unkindness or anything like that online. Zero tolerance, and I would not let it affect me at all. Definitely not.
Okay, well, I think that's obvious. You can't let it hold you back when you've got the scale of your business now.
Do your thing. Do your thing. Don't let anything hold you back. Definitely not. Life's too short. Totally too short.
Yeah, but I know there's a lot of businesses now sitting, and startups especially, you have that fear. But I think when they watch you, what are you afraid of? You're the one who has to drive things on, right?
Absolutely. Honestly, and don't get me wrong, probably starting out it's a scary place, but most people are really lovely. They want to get behind you. They want to buy into the brand. They want to listen to your story. They want to hear you. And for that 1% that doesn't, honestly, the problem's theirs, not yours, guys. Definitely not.
Yeah, and I reiterate that too. We all have our challenges with what people think online, but at the end of the day, they're not paying the bills, so they can shimmy on. So I get that from you, and I can say that you don't let that hold you back. So your business has grown significantly. So like you now employ 24 people. Were you scared when that whole process was happening? Like that growth is huge.
I'm still scared. I'm scared every day. But I think if I wasn't scared, it wouldn't drive me on. I think the day that I'm not scared is probably the day that I'll quit, because I'm always scared of something. I'm always worrying about something. So, and like again, when I started out, I didn't have this master plan to be where I am in 5 years or be where I am in 10 years. It happened gradually. And then as it got to every stage, I was thinking, okay, well, if we do this, we can make a difference. We can definitely increase this. We can, it just became project based, and every kind of year you said, okay, well, next year we're definitely going to try to move to this, or we're going to really focus on e-com this year, or, every stage just as it evolved, I probably was able to build a team around me and kind of make it happen then.
The Dig podcast would not be possible if it wasn't for the support of the fantastic partners who team up with us each series. Series 6 is in partnership with Invest NI, my new business.
Mia was starting a new business and needed financial assistance and advice. She visited My New Business and accessed a directory of local support schemes. From grants and loans to advisory support, there was help available for her specific needs. Need help starting your new business? Visit nibusinessinfo.co.uk/mynewbusiness.
Now let's get back to making it happen. Make it happen. You didn't do that on purpose, did you? So making it happen is the ethos of the podcast, but how do you make it happen? Like creating that magic online it's hard, because we can see you now and see how personable and lovely you are, but online sometimes it's hard to create that, and brands struggle and businesses struggle. If people are listening now, both on audio and the podcast or here in front of us, how do you create that magic online that someone can get face to face? How do you do it online?
I think you have to be consistent, and people to buy into a brand need that consistency. They need you to show up. They need you to be there. They need you to be in front of them. And don't get me wrong, like, we don't want to sell to every person every day. Yes, it's great when it happens, but that's unrealistic that someone's going to buy from you every single day. But, if you're at the forefront of their mind, that's amazing, because at least if you're in the top 5 places where, if it's simply an outfit for going out that weekend, if it's as simple as casual wear, brilliant if it's a wedding. But as long as you're in their mindset all of the time, at some stage or another, you've got talkability, you've got fresh content to chat about, then that's great. But I would just say stay consistent with your brand message, and make it cohesive across all your channels. I want people to look at our socials and go immediately, oh, that's walk-in wardrobe. Or I want them to look at our website and go immediately, oh, that's walk-in wardrobe. I want the brand to be cohesive across all of those channels, not just Instagram, not just Facebook, not just on the e-com site. So it's kind of telling that story and making it consistent all the time.
Well, here's a story. My 3-year-old knows how consistent you are, because on a Sunday morning, she'll say to me, are we watching the walk-in wardrobe? She gets in beside me, and for some reason it's always Sunday morning when we're watching it together. So think about that. Like, a 3-year-old knows that you're on a Sunday morning. That is unbelievable. And like, I know I'm joking as in having fun telling that story, but I think that's mad. Like, that shows how consistent you are. Relentless. I call it in a positive way. But you also talk about, and you do this, doing things outside the box. You do things differently.
Yeah, and I think that's how we're niche. We do things differently. We try to keep it really fresh, and we're always constantly thinking about new collections, new drops, new launches. How do we shock? How do we surprise? All the time. It's always at the forefront of everything we're doing. It's not just about doing the same as we did last week. It's about looking back, what worked, what didn't work, what can we do different, what can we do better? How can we launch this a bit differently? How can we create a bit of drama around it?
Let's talk about launching. So you launch every day, sometimes 3 times a day. So but you definitely launch every day. That is hard. And if people are listening, I know, like, well, I couldn't do that now. I'm just far too busy for that launching crack every day. But that's why you have 100,000 sales last year. How do you launch every day? You do have a strategy that we talked about, like the midweek thing that you do. Do you want to tell everybody?
Okay, all right. So in terms of planning content thing, yeah. Okay, so yeah, like yes, we have the Saturday and Sunday style, and then we're obviously online on socials, cross socials every single day. But a lot of that is planned content. That's not me getting up at 6 o'clock. At times it was. At times during lockdown it absolutely was. But that's planned. So that's like 1 day a week and possibly 2 days a week of fully committing to photographing, videoing, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and creating that content 2 days and consolidating in it to 2 days, because otherwise it can overtake, and it definitely can take over your life. So I would say to you, if you could try, and even if you are online or on socials, try and plan your content so that you're not constantly having to think about it every day. You're not even having to put on makeup every day. You're not having to even look good every day. But at least if it's 1-2 days a week, even if it's a half day, an hour a week, two hours, whatever works for you. But I would say plan your content, because at least it gives you a strategy then to work to.
So I think that's what happens. You go round and round as a business owner saying, I don't have time. But you set nearly like a Wednesday as your day, don't you, for coming in to do your videos all day, but you've planned it on the Tuesday. So you're really efficient.
Yeah, and the Wednesday with me today. So she knows all about a Wednesday, because Wednesday is like the crux of her week. So she plans around a Wednesday every week. So that's like literally from our buying patterns to getting our deliveries in, to getting the reel styled up, to pulling the looks, to getting the models organised. The e-com photography we photograph. We have an e-com photographer and a model weekly as well. So we have new collections dropping every week. Maybe not even online, but deliveries coming every week also. So yeah, it's 1 day. Wednesday is our day of the week, but that could be any day.
And Laura didn't always have all that team to back her.
Oh, definitely not.
You were doing it like that at the start at a smaller scale. So there's a lot of businesses that listen to the Dig podcast and they're not product based, they're service based. But this applies for service based too, because you still need to be creating content for your business. So setting aside that 1 day to create that content for the full week or for a full 2 weeks will be invaluable to your branding online. I believe anyway, you know, a service or product.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's about getting to know your customer as well, like knowing who your walk-in wardrobe girl is. Like, what does she look like? You know, what does she want? What does she want to see? You know, are we giving her what she wants? Like, is it casual? Is it dressy? Is it a mix of both? You know, like happy days if it's a beautiful dress for a wedding, that's brilliant. But mostly we want people that are just like your eye. Like they want kind of a bit of entertainment. They want a bit of education on like how to dress. A lot of the time it is like, we're all women. We go through different stages in life. We've been in the fat days. We've been in the skinny days. We're all hormonal. But like, I just think clothes can definitely give you that inner confidence, and it give you that sense of empowerment. You know, you and I both sit up here today. We've thought about our outfit. We've thought about what is going to give us that extra boost of confidence. It's going to make us feel good. Why does it make us feel good? You know, what is it? Is it the cut of it? Is it how it looks? Is it flat as our bum? Are we conscious? Do you know what I mean? So it's like knowing what your customer wants, and that's not always selling clothes. Maybe you're service based, but it's just getting in the mindset of your customer what they want.
Yeah, so like customer profiling, I suppose, is so important. And when you're talking and you're doing your videos, you talk to me. You say, now this is a wee bit tight around the tummy now if you're a wee bit conscious and all. So you definitely do know your customer, and I suppose it's to urge everybody listening to think about what their customer wants to see and give it to them every day.
Oh, definitely. And I would say if you don't believe in, you know, you got to believe in the product. Like, again, when we're buying, you know, normally 3 of us in the buying team will buy. And if we don't all agree, or we don't see the benefit in that jacket, or we don't love the cut, or we think it's slightly too short, or it's going to cut people off, or it's slightly too long, or, you know, we're constantly thinking, what does the customer want and why are they buying from us? Because, you know, I genuinely wouldn't sell anything that I don't love or that I don't see the benefit in, or that, you know, what doesn't make me feel good won't make anybody else feel good.
Yeah. So I think we've established Laura is very busy and things are going really, really well. And a lot of us sometimes feel like we're on a hamster wheel and things are going great, but are they going great? So you talked about analysing things. a lot whenever I was down with you. So
Yeah.
and that's like a lot of people are sort of on the hamster wheel but never look, hi, is this really going? So what do you do? Teach us how we
I
can.
think probably the point that we grew the most was when we really sat down and started to kind of critically analyse like the week before, the month before. So we do management accounts monthly, and that has been an absolute godsend because it has forced us to look at absolutely everything, every single cost, every single sale that the business has had in the past month. What has worked, what hasn't worked. And sometimes, mostly, I would say it is important to understand what hasn't worked as what has worked, because you'll make mistakes. Like the day you stop making mistakes is the day I think you'll quit. But move on from them mistakes, learn from the mistakes and say, well, we definitely could do that better, or drop that product, or make the decisions based on what has went well, but also what hasn't went so well. So I would say, like, and again, it doesn't have to be fancy management accounts. If you're small scale, sit down and just understand where your shields are coming from, but also where your costs lie. Might it be your electricity, as much as like just very, like, literally line it out and understand exactly what business or what money the business is making, because at the end of the day, you know, we have to make money too. You know, it has to be viable, you know. So
whenever, I have to admit, whenever I had my shop, because it was kind of like a one-man band for years, I neglected to do that. And even though I was very, very busy, I never felt like I had any money. But why was I not sitting down? And, you know, in the early days, I'd figure that out. I suppose it's learning how to do business. But I suppose there's a lot of people here now in the startup stage. I never went to things like this whenever I started up my business. So, you know, to hear that now, I think it's a good kick up the bum to say, right, I need to sit down and work out what's going right and what's going wrong.
And for me, a bit like you, the scariest part is not sitting down.
It is.
It's the getting in your head until you sit down, until you can see it in black and white. That's the scariest part. Once you can see it in black and white, you know what the problem is. If you can change that problem, change it, brilliant. But until you know where the problem is, that's the hardest part. That's the scariest part.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember, like, a few weeks, or it was probably a few months ago now, when Instagram went down for the day and everybody panicked and the whole country was texting me and Neve and anybody to do so, my Instagram's gone, I've lost 70,000 followers. I think that was a wake-up call to a lot of people about, if your social media went down in the morning, how are you going to reach that online customer? So you told me, and this was mind-blowing to me because I know how hard it is to get email subscribers, that you have 60,000 email subscribers.
yeah, upwards of 60,000, I think. Holly be able to tell you better, yeah.
So first of all, we all want to know, why is that important, and how do we get even 60? Like, I mean, how do people start, and why is it important to your business?
Again, look, honestly, only for Instagram, Facebook, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Definitely not. But at the end of the day, you know, the back of your mind is always you're at their mercy. Catherine and I funny had this conversation just 5 minutes ago. But, you know, I think you kind of need to spread the risk. So if you have email, if you've text marketing, maybe you want to think about launching your own app. You have your own e-commerce site, but you need to make sure you're driving your traffic all the time to your own channels as much as you are through Instagram and Facebook. It's very easy to drive it all through Instagram and Facebook, but who knows? Look, I don't think they're going anywhere soon. It's definitely not to scare you. But at the same time, I think it is important to think, okay, if I didn't have these guys in the morning, we don't even know who they are, you know, how do we, you know, how would we rally around and build our business again? So email marketing, text marketing,
any tips for growing your email list? Things people could
every
do?
single transaction, grab an email. And even in the store, we would grab customer emails. So from the very beginning, customer emails, build up your database, start right today, today.
Because I know I always know when the sale's going to start before all the social people, because I'm an email subscriber. So it definitely works. So if you haven't thought about your email list, I think you should, if that's one thing you take away today, if social media was gone in the morning, what would you do? How would you reach those people? So start to build that.
Possibly maybe you're launching a new product or you're launching sale. That's when you'll hook people in and get the most subscribers, because they want early access to a 50% sale. Everybody does. So if you can, it's as simple as popping your email in, why wouldn't you do it?
Exactly.
So, you know.
And you're not a torture on email, I've noticed either. You know, you only get the good stuff, whereas that you don't want to give your email out. Sometimes people are a torture and you get all the every single day, oh my God. But yours are always deadly ones, like 50% off.
Again, Holly, take the credit, Holly.
You're good at daily marketing.
But again, switch off. If it's too much, I would say unsubscribe. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
If it is too far enough. But and I think as well, text marketing, I know a lot of companies recently have gone back to like traditional text marketing. Also Postal Drops, we haven't done the Postal Drops. But do you know what? There's something nice about getting a letter in the post now because you never get it. So why not? You know, it's just
Thinking differently.
thinking outside the box, you know?
Yeah, and let's talk about the box. And I know we didn't plan to talk about this, but the walk-in wardrobe box when it lands on your door with your beautiful stuff in it. How important is that? Well, I think we all know, but a lot of people neglect that packaging beauty that you expect when you buy something from someone. Like, it's so important.
Well, for me, I always think, you know, we can control what happens in our store. Definitely. We can create a beautiful experience. We can give you all the style advice. We can chat to you. We can package it beautifully. We can give you a gorgeous bag. But online, you don't always have that opportunity. So how do we personalize and how do we, you know, kind of inject that kind of personal touch into your online transaction? Well, that's definitely in how it comes to you, how it's packaged. How does it make you feel? Do you feel excited when you get it? Does it make you feel girly? Does it make you feel feminine? Maybe there's a wee note from someone who packed it saying, I love your order. I have this. I've styled it with this. You know, it's just getting all those little personal touches at every single point in the journey. Whether that's seeing it firstly on Instagram, getting them over to the website. What's beautiful about it? What's personal about it? Does it have a video on the product? Does it have just photos? Are the photos okay? Are they mediocre? Can you make them better? You know, it's every point in the journey looking at how you can make it better and how you can give the customer the best experience.
Now we're all going, oh gosh, I need to take a look at that when I go back.
That's with time. That's not overnight. Just,
No.
and I'm not saying do all of these things, but, you know, like I always say at the start of the year as well, like make your list, I call it New Year's resolutions, but make it for your business. What do you want? Like if you had a blank canvas, what would you love to do this year? You won't be able to do it all. Definitely not. Nobody is. But like set your wee goals, as small as they might be or as big as they might be, set them and then like quietly, slowly achieve them as you go.
Absolutely. And if it is only improving your packaging and you want to do that in the next 6 months, that's a major thing ticked off.
Yeah, just start looking into it, you know?
Yeah. So like I could, this is why there's a Q&A, because I'm asking her what I think, but yous are going to get a chance to and after our next guest to speak to Laura. But what advice would you give? So the ethos is making it happen, as you so nicely dropped in earlier. But what advice would you give to people sitting here in front of us now who are trying to make it happen? People listening on audio, on Apple and YouTube and Spotify who are going, I just can't. I just can't. What advice would you give to them, Laura, to making it happen?
Yes, you can. You definitely can. You've made the journey here today, so you can make it happen through that snow. You can get anywhere. I think consistency, that's always my word, but you need to be consistent. So if that consistency is once a week online, that's okay. That's fine. Again, it doesn't have to be my business is social, but maybe yours is not. But just consistency and just, I think as well, make your plans, set your small goals, work towards them and break them down. Look back, critically analyse, again, what's went well, what hasn't went well, and learn from the mistakes. My other big thing is embrace change. I think if I wasn't prepared to embrace change, then again, I wouldn't be where I was. Change can be a very scary place, but it can also be an amazing place. So, you know, if you've been putting something off or you've been thinking about changing certain elements, do it. Start the process. Don't be afraid to embrace change, because I definitely think wonderful things happen when you can change and you can pivot. And just get excited, get fired up, just have energy, loads and loads and loads and loads of energy.
How amazing. Is everybody psyched now? They're like, woohoo, we're ready. So I just want to say thank you so much for being on the Dig podcast, Laura. We're going to have a chance to ask her questions after, so get all your writing down now so that you can get all the information. Where can people follow the journey now of your business, Laura, for anyone that doesn't know?
So Instagram, Facebook, our site is called walkinwardrobeonline.com, and yeah, you'll be sick of looking at me if you haven't already.
Thank you so much. Can we give a big round of applause, please, for Laura? Thank you for listening to another episode of the Dig podcast. It's an absolute privilege to be your host every week and to spend time with the most driven, inspirational people. Don't forget to tag us on social at Dig for Success if you enjoyed this week's conversation. And until next week, keep taking those steps to making it happen in your business and in your life.